All right. I do believe we are live. Hi, Leigh Jane.
Hello, Miss Monique Alvarez.
So I'm so excited to be with you. I know it's morning for you, evening for me, and we're going to talk about power moves and internet famous and God knows what else.
And power moments. These are my most favorite ones with you. This is where we started. 7 years ago, you landed in my kitchen and you were pulling one of your power moves. Little did I know that you were being you in action and your work in action. And yeah, that was now 7 years ago. And I don't know how much money we've made together over that time. I don't know how many people I've brought into your world because I love what you do and I like how you operate, and it's quick and easy. We don't have to bounce back and forth, for weeks on end and come up with a whole organization plan. It's always, I had an idea, this came through last night. What do you think? Want to do this? What's the timeline? How many people? Let's go. So, when I think of power moves and I think of you, I think about how you converse with people. And that's exactly what this is all about. So, how do you do what you do? Within 30 minutes, you tell a story, you give a soundbite, you make the thing go viral. We love you. And, if I had to describe you in 2 words, it would be the sweet gangster.
Yes, I love it. And I somehow knew you were going to call me that.
Great. Like, thank you for coming dressed for the occasion. How do you do that? How do you roll it? Some people are really good at storytelling. Some people are able to bring the juice in that converts. I mean, the only point of coming onto the internet to have a conversation with these wild streets is to convert. And you do it so brilliantly. And I've watched you go from zero to hero, zero to hero, zero to hero on multiple occasions. It's not like you've just done it once because you needed to like return from the ashes. You decide a thing, it's at zero, and you rock and roll. So, what is the key that unlocks this conversion door to clients at mass the way that you do?
Well, wouldn't everybody want to know? No, truthfully, this is what it is. It's that part of me that's obsessed with figuring it out, with tinkering and researching and auditing and looking. So it started by going live every day and then auditing myself every Friday for 11 years in a row. So you mentioned these key components. So I would nail one and then I'd layer on, okay, they like the storytelling. I've got the stories dialed in. Now I've got to layer on the next component. And so I test that out and practice it. Can't lose this first one while I'm mastering the second one, right? It's sort of like you start with juggling 2 scarves and then you go to 3, and then you pull together this whole package. The reason most people don't do this, Leigh, is because they're not willing to do it 1,000 times. I had to look foolish for 100 lives. I had to practice, I had to refine, I had to master, and I had to keep going. One of the best compliments Derek ever gave me was 6 months ago. And he said, I have never seen anyone who can get up and show up every day full tilt on 10, no matter what, like you've already got everything you came for, everything you want. That's what you can do. And this is the secret.
Now, you know that I work with mechanics. And so I look at the actual human being and what is possible from a marketing and sales perspective. Not everybody is great with conversations. Not everybody is great with storytelling. Not everybody is great with showing up on a daily basis. You talk about the foolishness of showing up and maybe failing. At the moment on the internet, I'm sharing with everyone that I'm on the 100K goal for the month of increased engagement of people. And I'm currently sitting at, this morning, I was at 30,000. I'm 2 weeks in. So I'm currently 20,000 behind my goal. And what I put in the post was, what's fun is to share the journey with others and let them see you every day as you're moving through it. What's more fun is to fail with others. What's even more fun than failing with others is dying trying. And not everyone is willing to die trying, because you've spoken about that piece of, okay, well, you're not willing to be foolish, so you're out of the game because you're too worried about what people think about you. Okay, let's say that that doesn't exist. And you're like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I'm just doing my thing and I'm rocking and rolling and I'm going to win anyway, because that's the game of life that I play. It's the winning game. What about when it comes to capacity? Because you have grand capacity, being the 5-1 that you are, being the Sagittarian that you are, the adventurer in you naturally wants to do the thing. What do you say for people like me, for example? I'm a 2-4, I'm a 50% all about the people, and I'm a 50% people don't even talk to me, don't say my name, I'm in my cave. And I too have grand capacity, but I don't operate the way that you do. So when you say the key is show up every day, do the thing every day, what happens when we bring mechanics into play?
This is the ticket, is when you know who you are and you follow that, you listen to that closely, perfectly, every time. Then if you're a person who shows up every 2 days or every 3 days or whatever your rhythm is, then when you show up, you'll move mountains on that day. You'll be so hot, so bright, so spot on. And then you'll leave. And because you were so spot on, people will miss you. They will ache for you. They'll long for you. They'll go to your profile and be like, where is she at? When's she going to come out of her cave? Can we sit at the door and wait for her? And then when you show back up, they're going to go, and they'll hang on every word you have. And so the key is this, is yes, you do have to know yourself and you have to play your game to the absolute best of your ability. And I want to say this loud and clear. People aren't going to like this, Leigh. But when people do not play their game like an Olympic athlete, they will not get the rewards that they see other people get. That's the ticket.
This is the work that I teach in initiation. This is the final phase of the work that I do. And I do rhythm and flow right at the end because it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to really honor your own rhythm and flow, like you say, to the nth degree, and let that be your consistency. And it's where most people fall off. It's the difference between reaching their next 6 figures, their next 7 figures in a way that doesn't kill them. And you've done the work. You've done the lineage restoration. You've got the clarity on who you are. You've worked the muscle of your own expertise. You've been doing it for a lifetime. People come onto the internet, the newbies, the start-uppers, and they're like, oh my God, like that looks so easy. And it's like, yeah, bitch, please, she's been doing this for a quarter of a century. Of course it looks easy. If it didn't, then she needs to get off the internet. And I think that that is the biggest problem, that people get on, they compare, they try to play the game of an entrepreneur that has been playing it for, I don't know if you saw the reel that Alex Hormozy did. I think it was yesterday. And it's his journey from 2013. And he shows it all the way from when he got to his 100 million months and what was required to get there. Brother failed hard. He failed hard. He failed fast. He lay on the floor. He was doing his 17-hour days. Candy Morell yesterday as well made a comment on the internet, and she said, everybody talks about the 3-day weeks. Nobody talks about the systems that are required to have those 3-day weeks in place. And you and Derek do this so well. Because I'm moving in different time zones at the moment, and you've got Mastermind and Rich Mixer and a client today and Power Moves, and it's all happening. And then you've got, your daily lives, and you make people who are busy want to be in your world on a daily basis. This is an art. What makes daily people want to be in your world on a daily basis?
I leave them better every single time. They have one aha, they have one breakthrough, they have one laugh, they have one thing that gives them a chemical wash over their brain that says, go back for more. It's not rocket science, people. If you're dull, if you're boring, if you have nothing to offer, if you don't know how to communicate, if you don't know how to articulate it, if you don't think you're the shit, they're not going to come back for more. You're not going to give them this boost of oxytocin and serotonin and God knows what all, right? They're not going to get any chemical reaction. When people listen to you, look at you, and stand next to you, if they feel nothing, they're not coming back to you. They'll go to anything that makes them feel something. So make them feel something. You have to.
Okay, so we've just got a whole bunch of quotables in there in the last minute. Derek, we got a few more cups to create as well. Smooth flow into that. What makes someone quotable?
Mm-hmm. First thing you have to do, this goes back to knowing yourself. You have to speak out here on the internet in your business exactly how you speak in your home, with your best friend, with your kids, your spouse, and the person at the grocery store. Professionalism is a killer in the online space. Be professional at your real job. Be professional offline. Be professional, whatever that means, in somebody else's organization. But if you bring professionalism to the online space, you're dead in the water.
Mm.
You stop being quotable. Somebody sent me a private message, and I get this private message about every other day. You talk a lot about not using industry lingo and these words and those words. But what you don't understand is my ideal client understands those words. And I go, yeah, that's not the point. They understand you. The problem is you sound just like Becky, Lisa, Anna, and Cindy. Now, if you want to group yourself with 30 people on your feed, so you sound and look a lot like them, and now the way people pick you is based on price, you're screwed. How do you become the one? How do you stand out and pull away from the pack? You don't look, sound, and smell like everyone in the pack. So you have to identify the quirky, funny, weird, unique ways that you communicate, the sayings you say all the time, the way you would explain it to your kids. You use that in your business and you'll become quotable. You're only quotable if you sound like no one else.
There's the
Only
quote.
way.
There's the quote. You're
There's the
only
quote.
quotable if you sound like no one else.
That
You you go. You've got something coming through that you just wanted to say that is, I feel like is just sitting right there.
So, Leigh, the crazy thing about being in business and being mid 40s is watching how many people who are 40, 50, and 60 still want to be someone they're not. No one wants to admit it. No one would say it out loud, no, I'm so embracing myself and sovereignty and all the things. No freaking way that that's the truth. I read your content. It sounds like you're still wanting to be like everyone else. It's like high school all over again. The minute you're okay not fitting in, not running with the group, not being part of the circle, being kicked out of whatever little industry groupie things you've got, then you can finally master this. And this is the component that is oftentimes missing for people their entire career online. It's why they'll go so far, but not all the way.
I think that if you haven't been kicked out of a group,
Yes.
then you're not winning.
No, you're not.
Because if you're blending in, and when you're not blending in, and when there's a challenge, and when you're just doing your thing, I mean, I've been kicked out of groups completely unexpectedly because it's where you and I met actually. And I know
We both got
various
kicked
people that have
out.
been, yeah, I know various people that have been kicked out of that space. And it's really interesting to hear people's stories. I was like, okay, well, you're not the first person, and this is the flavor of how she rolls. And that is, if you seemingly are doing better than her, and you're able to attract attention really quickly in a short period of time, she doesn't like this. The group doesn't exist anymore. But I notice this in the world as well, particularly now that I'm traveling and I'm all over the place, that I create community really quickly. I'm surrounded by people really quickly of all different ages. So I'll be sitting doing my work, and every day there'll be people that'll come up to me, sit at my table, and we'll get into conversations. And their trajectory for life changes. It's, just who I am. Not everyone likes that. The owners of the joint don't always like that you're able to rile community around you, literally with doing nothing, because it's just who you are. What are your rules? And this is part of Power Moves, of how you communicate and how you interact with people and how you tell your story. Part of one of your stories is the rules that you have around engagement, on how people engage with you. How do you make that super clear in who you are on a daily basis without even saying it?
Mm. By having and holding the big personality. Okay. So the reason why a lot of people have to have this introduction in their group that's this long and 42 rules and the onboarding yada yada that explains all of their policies instead of how to get the most out of it is because they refuse to hold and demonstrate their big personality all the time. Everyone has a personality, but you wouldn't know it when you're on the internet. If you can hold all of the parts of yourself, not the business side, not the professional side, not the CEO, not the salesperson, not the customer support, but all of the aspects of who you are, if you hold that and you have all of that present in everything you do every day, people get it. They can feel it.
Yeah, be it in as opposed to the instructional.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to round back to the piece that you were talking about of showing up, doing your thing, your rhythm and flow, knowing what you're about. Let's say you're on the internet and your personality is big and you're sharing in all of the different ways and you're touching on the different feeling touch points, the emotional arc that people need to go through in order to feel a connection, but you're still getting crickets. What do you say about that?
What I say about that is you have to have more individual conversations.
Mm.
So if you aren't getting the audience, the followers, the friends to talk back to you, to interact with you, to click on the link, to ask for the link, even just to say something about what you said. Last night, I went quiet, I think all Sunday. I said after hot yoga, I'm amazed every time I go to hot yoga and I don't die. And how many comments showed up within minutes of that post? Okay. If you can't get people to say anything about anything, then you have to start having more individual conversations with these people. And these people really matter. With people who have already spent money on something similar to what you do. So you have identified that they are buyers, not
Mm.
looky-loos, not tire kickers, not whiners and complainers, not freebie seekers, but buyers. Have individual conversations with them. It might be a little back and forth in Messenger. It might be a 15-minute Zoom call. It might be asking them one or two questions. But the conversations with individuals who actually spend money on what you sell is what's going to help you refine. If you do 5 or 10 of those conversations and you transcribe their words and then you look at how you're speaking on the internet and you begin to incorporate their words and their motivations and their insights, then you'll be able to bring and bridge the interaction and the conversation so then it can happen more publicly.
Mm. I mean, it really is a muscle. This networking like the rich really is a muscle. I'm 8 years into business, and It's the muscle that I'm working now. You know, I've always just done my thing, and I've gone to casual events, not even for business. They've been for my own enjoyment because pleasure is the strategy for me. And within those spaces, that's where I've connected with clients who have, you know, spent thousands and thousands of dollars with me. I was just having a good time, or telling a story about my son, or just being me, just sitting back, sipping on my tea. And that's where the connections happened. That works when you're going to a lot of events. But when you're wanting to be in the online space, like you say, you've got to do things differently. So these power moves is very, very layered, super, super layered with all of the things that need to be done. You've got a program that's coming up. And as all of your work goes, it's for some people and it's not for some people. Who is it going to work for? Who is it not going to work for? Who is ready for it and who is definitely not ready for it?
So Miranda, who wants to sit in the back row and blend in and stay safe, she would hate the power moves experience. She would just hate it. But actually, she'd hate me. That's what she'd hate, right? The person who's like, I notice there's a pattern. The same people keep winning. The same people keep making money. The same people keep celebrating the big wins. I want to be one of those same people. And you're willing to give yourself permission to, you're willing to let the friends and family and the people who know you in real life and knew you 20 years ago, you're willing to let them spin and gossip. And you are so ready to break through your own glass ceiling, through your own bullshit. You're going to love power moves because I am going to give you permission to be the star of your own show. By the way, those are the only people who make a shit ton of money on the internet. The ones
Yeah.
who are like, this is my stage. Welcome to my world. I'm the star here. I will give you everything that you want to become where, you know, who you want to be and get you where you want to go. But just so you know, I won't ever stop being the star of this show.
Yeah.
That's the person.
Mm. And like I said before, you know, you got to be ready for that. You've done the thing. You've been on the front cover of magazines. You've been on the billboards. You've been featured in various publications. You've been on the podcasts that get 50 million downloads. Other than the reps, other than the foolishness, other than having an extraordinary man by your side and kids that get really excited, and for you to be the mother that you are, excited to provide for them and have fun with them and go on adventures with them and be excited to work with your man who you've been working with for over a decade and a half now. What does a woman need to be in her power, to be able to show up that much and be that visible? And let's put aside not giving a fuck about what people think. There is a something that you know that sits right at the depths of the core of a woman's system that she needs to make absolute peace with. And this is a non-negotiable before we even get to capacity. What do you say that is?
She has to be willing to look at herself in the mirror every day, lay her head on the pillow every night, and say, I am being everything I knew I could be and more. You know, this was just a couple of nights ago. Everyone was in bed. I was in the bathroom. I was going to turn the light off, turn the light off on the day and in the room. And I had a flashback. I was in the fourth grade, and my best friend Libby, she lived 2 houses down, she'd come over to play. We would do Chinese jump rope, hide and seek, play with the stuffed animals, dress up the dolls, put curlers in our hair. But there was one thing that I asked Libby to do every time she came over. And I'll never forget the day she goes, I just don't know if I can play store again, Monique. So I had asked my parents that back in the days of writing checks, they would give me their checks after they cleared the bank. And I'd have a few bills and coins, and I had a money box. And I'd say, Libby, you want to come over and play store? You can buy anything in my room. Here's a little money. And I would write receipts and I would play this. That is the person I get up for every single day. That girl knew she loved making money. She knew she loved selling. She knew she loved throwing the party. Come in, let's find what's right for you. Let's wheel and make a deal. That's the girl I show up for because guess what? I was in my own world in the fourth grade and I'm still in my own world and I refuse to step into anyone else's world. When you are unwilling to step into any other freaking world except for the one you create exactly the way you want, you're in it. You're in it to win it.
You know, you've catalyzed a memory that comes up on a regular basis, and it's when, you know, my father brought me up from the age of 2. Mum left when I was 2, so it was dad and I alone until I was 10, and then he remarried when I was 10. And I've got this image of me as a little girl walking around in the residential area that we stayed in. We stayed in Albertskron, number 23, which is my number. Dad would be off at work. And I would find myself in different houses of my friends chatting with the parents. So I was about 7 years old when this was happening. And I can see myself walking down the road. Next door, they've got the jacuzzi next door. So this is a very good friend to have. So Yako and I would meet on the wall. Then we'd have a jacuzzi, but I'd spend time chatting to Sandra, his mum, who I remained in contact with until my 20s. Down at the corner street, there were 2 houses across from one another. I remember returning from overseas when I'd worked on private yachts to meet with the parents of the children that I was mates with. And so this little 7-year-old girl, that version who spoke to those who were much more ahead of her, to receive their wisdom, but also share the wisdom of the 7-year-old in me that had these parents being really interested in what I had to say. So thank you. And Alex spoke about this as well. He said, make the 8-year-old version of yourself proud and the 80-year-old version of yourself proud. Remember who you were then, because who you were then is the core of who you are. And I can just see you cutting checks. Like I can just, this is the cutest little image. If you could find a photo of you playing store, cutting checks, that would be the most epic thing. I think this is a power moment request, no? One of the color blocks of what do you remember about yourself as a 7-year-old that was a world that you created, and it's the same world that makes you make your next 100K or whatever you want to make. This links back into the difference between someone who explains something a lot and someone who can do a sound bite, and why they have a different impact, and how you teach people to use them interchangeably.
Yes, most people, they write, they speak, they interview, they email, they do all of the things, they go live. But most of it's lost. It's about drilling down and finding those few words, that one sentence. How many times have you seen me lead a call and I say, we're going to take 2 minutes to write one sentence? This last week at Rich Mixer, there was a brand new person and she had like a 3-minute spiel that would be perfect for BNI or Chamber of Commerce ready. And I interrupted her. I said, oh, we don't do that here. Did you write your one sentence? Because here's what people forget. I can hang on to a phrase, I can hang on to a word, I can hang on to a sentence, especially when it's crafted so insanely well. A 20-minute explanation, I won't be able to repeat that back. I won't be able to get off and tell anyone. I can't tell Derek or the kids. I can't sit here at my table and tell my dad at dinner. So look at what you're saying, what you're writing, what you're speaking, what you're asking at networking groups, and ask people, straight up ask them, Could you repeat what I just said?
Mm.
Can you go tell someone in 30 minutes or tonight at dinner what I just said? They're probably going to say no.
Mm.
And that is going to shape the way that you communicate, because it doesn't matter if you're smart. It doesn't matter if you have the scientific explanation. Are you someone that can be repeated on repeat? That's what we're looking for.
And I've got a really simple distinction for that. You know, you talk about make them feel something, make them feel anything. It's the distinction between, do you make someone feel something or do you make someone reflect deeply? And we can't be in a space when we're in a networking like the rich space. It's not about making someone reflect deeply, because we're in connection mode, we're in get to know me mode, we're in networking mode, we're in spread the word for me mode, we're in the I'm here to be quotable mode, I'm here to be spoken about mode. And there's one person in particular that is in the community, and whenever they speak I tune out, because there's an explanation that comes instead of just speaking to the thing. And so immediately my brain goes, oh, but you're in the wrong room, because this is not the room for that. This is not, I don't need an explanation about your product and your service and a whole entire paragraph about it. I just need you to be clear on your one sentence so that you can say it so I can sell you. My job is to sell you. You're making yourself unsellable.
There you go. When you're referring or when you're networking, the people that you're networking with, they are your sales team. They might be your sales team for 5 minutes, for an hour that day. Someone today sent me a message and said, I have a referral for someone from last Wednesday. So she has been ticking and thinking and scanning her world. If you want an amazing sales team who literally scans their whole world for you, then figure out how to get very clear and very direct. And I think this is the breaking point. How many of us were raised with this idea that being clear and direct is aggressive? It's not polite, it's not ladylike, but it's what works in business. That's what's required of us. Get past all the explanation, get past all of the, this is why I say we don't need to know the story. I don't need the backstory. Tell me who you want an introduction to, and let's roll. Let's go.
So this is the simple version. What is the version? Now I've got it. Now I'm clear. I'm clear on exactly who you are. Your one sentence, I've got it. I can sell you. But now I don't like you. Like I
Yeah,
actually
I already
I
did.
don't enjoy you as a human being. I can put my finger on it and I can go, oh, when you do this thing, it irritates me and I'm not really interested. I want to sell you because you've got a really great product, but I don't really like you. Now what? Now what do we do?
This one's a whole lot harder. And I already knew you were going to say it. I literally was like, I know what she's going to say. I don't like you. So here's the thing. There's going to be people who like us and people who don't like us. But here is what you really need. You don't need everyone to like you, but you have to know who you're turning off on purpose. You need to know how you're being perceived intentionally. So where most people play the game, it's like it feels out of their control. I don't know. Some people like me, some people don't. I have no idea who or what or why. I don't know how they perceive me. I don't even know that I'm literally shaping perception all the time. Okay, so this is a mysterious world over here. Where I want you to be is where you're very clear. I know who I piss off every day, and I do it on purpose. I literally stick my finger in there and, right? I'm doing it on purpose. If you're not doing it on purpose, you're in trouble. Everyone won't like you, no. But usually the people you don't like in the situation you're talking about, it's because they are unaware. Being
Mm,
unaware, especially in collaborations and networking, you cannot be oblivious to yourself and your
to
own
yourself.
behavior. Yeah. And then what it sets off in others. You cannot be oblivious to that. You have to become aware of when you're being annoying, when you're being repulsive, when
Mm,
you're being uninvited to the next call that only people in the know about. You've got to be aware of that.
yeah.
Self-awareness. God, have some self-awareness, right?
I mean, I wrote this yesterday. I said the result of you doing these things, and it was stacking around mechanics. I said, one that you're not proud to admit, you've been a bit of an asshole again, momentarily. And you got to stop putting yourself in that position that you're going to be the asshole in someone's story. Everybody is the asshole in someone's story. Let it not be you in your own story.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a clever move. Now, if we flip that on its head, what if I really like you,
Mm-hmm.
but your offer is not a jab?
Mm-hmm. Good, good. So if you really like me and my offer is what I call resistible, no, it's resistible. It's easy
This
to
is
say
so
no.
good.
It doesn't make any sense. Then what you have to do is be the good person and deliver the hard to hear truth. Okay. So I want everyone to hear me on this. This is going to be actually a game changer for a couple of people today. If you're willing to spend time with people, get to know, like you're interacting, you're doing your best to be their best salesperson, and you're reciprocal and you're all the things, and you like someone and you know this is off. If you go to them and you say, "Hey, Lisa, I like you and I want to promote for you. I want to refer you. I want to make introductions for you. This offer, I can't figure out for the life of me, but I
Mhm.
want to. Are you open to a conversation?" First of all, if someone does that to you, take them up on it. If you're willing to do this, people will trust you forever. Okay. Because we already know most people are this smile and nod. No clue. Smile and nod. Most people don't want to tell the truth. Most people don't want to get involved. Most people don't want to get into messy conversations. When you're willing to, you become one in a million. This is
Mhm.
actually what made me explode initially online, Leigh, is because I said I do these hot seats. Now, I had been on coaching calls. I had been on lives. And you know what these coaches would do? "Oh, Becky, oh girl, you're crushing it. You're so beautiful. You can do this." Every freaking time. And I was like, "You just said that in response to what she said? You're a liar. You're a freaking liar and a bad actress at that, right?" And so I said, "No, when I do these hot seats, I'm going to tell people the truth." Every single Wednesday, Leigh, I would do the hot seats. It was at 5 p.m. I still remember in Mexico. And my inbox would blow up. Now, there was a handful of people, maybe 5 to 7 people that we actually workshop live. There was 40 people who hit my inbox and said, "Girl, I just watched that. I cannot even believe you said that. But honey, you were so spot on. I was thinking the same thing, but nobody wants to say it." So since I know you tell the truth now, what do you got to say about this? And things blew up, right? All of these complimentary, no, no. You have to tell people the truth. If you don't tell them they have spinach in their teeth, if you don't tell them their offer is not what anyone wants right now, their pricing is wackadoo, their content is, mm, you're coming off dry, boring, but I get to interact with you and I know that's not true. Let's work on it. If you're willing to do that, you're going to have these people who would literally go over a cliff with you.
Yeah. Game changer. And I mean, it's in life as well. Drop the defenses and everything's good. As you know, I'm running a Monique group in the background, taking your work and running with it, because we've got to do it in company. I mean, it's so wonderful to, because I'm like, not another fucking program, not another course, not another challenge. Like, please stab me now. However, all of this stuff is just so much fun because it's the networking element, it's the collaboration element, it's the connection element. These are things that really excite me. My vocation on the planet is to restore connection. So to do fun things to grow in company is amazing. And the first challenge we did together was 30 days, and then we all needed a breather because we were like, okay, that was the horse race I didn't know that I was going to start the year with. And now we've come into the 12-day networking challenge. But in the first one, people were giving one another feedback, and I noticed that there was defense. So there was explanation as to, well, I'm doing this because this, and this. It's no matter why you're doing it. The fact is, I don't understand. That person doesn't understand, and that person doesn't understand. Help us understand. And so one of the messages that came through the group was, ladies, I love you, and this is one thing that needs to go immediately. Drop the defenses. If somebody is going to take the time to give you the feedback, it means that they care and they want to help you win. You're going to have to drop your defenses and either choose to receive it or choose not to be here. Because the fact that somebody is taking the time out, this is not paid, this is all voluntary work that we're doing with one another to help one another win, drop it. Most people don't like to drop the defenses. It's like, what are you defending? You're defending yourself. What are you defending yourself from? Help me to understand. You're defending yourself from winning? What's that about?
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, this is a distinction, and I'm glad you brought it up. People who can receive feedback just receive the feedback, and people who cannot receive feedback, they are going to run very different races. I mean, everyone we know talks about this. In fact, our good old boy Alex, he recently did a post about this. If you can't take feedback, good luck. Here's the part that most people don't realize is I have the feedback committee of all feedback committees. Okay. Derek is, he's damn near perfect. Okay. And I'm going to get hate mail after this. People hate it when I talk about my perfect husband and is he even real? And he's a figment of your imagination. Right. But here's the thing that Derek is for me. And he has always been from before we got married, is he's my feedback committee. And when he speaks, it's like one sentence, soft spoken, cool, calm, and collective, as we like to say in this house. And then he just walks into the next room. And I remember from the very, very beginning, I was like, same thing you just described. I can have my feelings hurt over it. I can take it personally. I can reject it. I can get mad. I can get defensive. I can argue. I can justify. I can all these things, or I can sit with it.
Mm.
We might not like it initially. Feedback is another practice. Most people have no practice with feedback because they actually don't have any feedback. They don't have enough people in their life who care about them genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is if feedback is new for you, then make this the first step. I'm going to sit with it. I'm not going to say a single word about it right now. I'm going to sit with it for 24, 48, 72 hours, a week, whatever it is. I'm going to sit with it. And what will happen when you decide to sit with it is you're going to realize they were right. And the only thing that you're defending and the only thing you're arguing for is to maintain where you are. That's it.
And do you want to do that or do you want to grow? And you got to step into the space of uncomfortability. Let's talk about what you're doing inside of Power Moves. So run us through the top elements of what the focus is so that Miranda can take her seat at the back or Sarah can step right in onto the field.
Yes. So step one is we identify from the lifetime of this individual, what were the power moves? They might have been public, they might not have been public. Most power moves are not public. And most of the time, people don't even realize those decisions, those private ahas that changed the trajectory of their life or took them on a whole new journey. So we identify those. So what Derek did is he created it. If you saw the modules for power moves, I read through them on the couch and I was crying. I was like, "Wait, how did you come up with this?" Right? I threw a bunch of messy notes, as you can imagine, post-it notes, words upside down and circles and random thoughts. And he created this beautiful series of exercises to go through. So for people who watch this and they're in Power Moves already, go through the modules. It's insane. So we identify the power moves, those decisions that we made that defined us. There's probably one, two, or three that we're going to look at. And then I help people look at the things that they think, they say, they teach, and we extract their quotes, the things that only they say, that nobody else on the internet says, the stories and the quotes and the ways that they view it and they articulate it that's very unique to them. And then we look at their offers. So if we're going to do a conversation like this, and we're going to highlight your power moves, those defining moments, and we are going to look at what makes you so insanely unique in the way that you communicate it. And then we were going to offer someone who may or may not know you one next step into your world. What is the most strategic thing for us to talk about? And not just be like, oh, if you want to join my yada yada, click here. No, 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 no. We literally create the desire and the hunger for it. This is what most people never do. They're like, surprise, I have a new book. I have a new offer. The doors are open. Nobody gives a shit. If you didn't create the hunger and the desire, they're not going to want to eat your thing. They don't want to throw their credit card at you because you did not create that. So we create that in the conversation. We have the offer. Then, of course, that goes in the description, show notes, links, and all that. We record this, but this is not impromptu. Let's just flow with it. I do plenty of things that I flow with. This is not a conversation for flow. Okay. When I got word that I was going to be featured on Inc.'s podcast with 50 million downloads, let me tell you, you don't go, well, I'm just going to say what's on my heart that day and hope for the best. You don't do that. You do that when you go live and there's 4 people watching you, right? So what most people don't realize, all the podcasts that they watch, all of the TV that they watch, all of the stuff that they watch that is just so insanely good, that's engineered. Oh no, I don't, that you would make me lose my magic. I'm just really like off the cuff. No, you're not. Trust me, because you're not already famous. You're not already getting invitations to all the big things, right? That's how you know the impromptu isn't right. Be impromptu at the right moments. We engineer this conversation so they are not self-conscious when I hit record. They are not rambling for 7 minutes. They're nailing it where people are like, "Oh my God, she just got me right there." They're writing it down. They're texting their friend. You have to listen to this person. You will not believe what she just said. We practice and we engineer, we record it. And then, I like to promote. I like to launch. I do the promotion plan. They do the promotion plan. This is not a post once on social media and say, thank you for having me. That's lame. It is,
Leverage.
it's leverage. It's like, I love like planning a launch like a general plans a war. Okay. That I have like my little GI Joes and right. It's like we want to blow this up. And then we create the reels that we promote, they promote. I initially said the aim was 10,000 views, but since I just hit 105,000 views on a reel, Now we've upped it to 100,000 views. If you've never had a reel get 100,000 views, well, that's what we're doing, right? Because this is what we've refined. And then if somebody goes through all these steps, they actually read the modules that my husband put so much work in, and they do all the things. They don't show up, looking like I am right now. They don't ramble. I'm going to tell you something, Leigh. I'm going to do something with this program I've never done before. Somebody comes on and we do the interview and it's shit. I'm going to delete it. I'm not going to say that's just who she is and where she's at. I'm going to enforce a certain level on this. They don't
Mm.
promote it, you're out. Forget it.
Wow.
You're not being invited to share your story in the book. You're not invited to next things because you just don't get it. The only way to blow up, to be quoted and promoted and be internet famous is you follow the steps. And if somebody doesn't want to follow the steps, they can fuck off. Even if they paid, right? You can pay and not follow the steps. You're not in.
You're out.
This is like this is the group, right? So we're going through all of this, and here's the real thing, Leigh. It's not really about these whole steps, and this is what I haven't even said yet in the promotion. The real takeaway is that once you experience it one time, you will do this every single time.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about what's really important around this, PR ready visibility, which is the work that I do inside of Luminescence Unfiltered. And it's a 3-month process. And you've been through it. You've been through it in the work that you do because you understand what money devotion is all about. You know what that is about. You understand your programming and your patterns. You've rewired all of it. You've gone through a process of all of your lineage restoration. You've cleared your God line. You've cleared your mother line. You've cleared your father line. You know exactly who you are. You've come into what your own truth reconciliation protocol is. You know what creates completion within your system. People get excited and they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not Miranda in the back. I'm Sarah on the front line and I'm running on the field and I'm ready. I'm ready for this Monique because Monique has a way of really exciting people, and people get excited and they're like, I have a high awareness of myself and I'm really ready for this. I'm super ready for power moves. And we're sitting and we're watching. We're going, but are you? But are you really ready? Because the thing about visibility, the thing about having all eyes on you, the thing about going viral, you've got to be ready for all shapes and sizes. You need to be able to be non-emotional. You need to be able to receive a wave of energy that comes through unexpected things that you receive, and be it like water off a duck's back, and be it in a way that the shit stuff doesn't cloud the really good stuff. You've been hated on by your mother for most of your life. I've been hated on by my mother for most of my life. I've come out of a domestic violence marriage. You've gone through shit with haters that have brought you down until the bottom. We're not able to be visible at the level that we're visible at because it's just shits and giggles and we've done nothing to get here. And I think that this is a really important message that needs to be shared with everyone. If your channel is not clear, if you haven't completed on all of your wounds, you haven't healed them, you haven't come into your center, you don't know who you are, and you're still worried about the validation, you're worried about what your parents are going to think or what your people are going to think, you're worried about leaving people behind, you've already positioned yourself as a Miranda. Like, this level of move, this level of power is giving absolutely no fucks and being so clear on who you are. And every wound that has ever been created in your life, it needs to be closed with a nice scar over it. Things need to be reconciled. You're not ready for this work until you're in that place. Now, you can learn on the job and rise to the top and then get knocked over and then come back for more and keep on doing that if you're into pain as a lesson. Or you can do the preparation work and really, really get your nervous system to the place, your favorite word, get to the place where it needs to be in order to be able to just rock and roll and come on, have the conversation, do the thing, tell the story without weeping for days, curling into a ball, going, oh my God, telling that story really, really killed my life. No, I've told the story, I've lived the story, and now I'm ready to speak the story. And it's just a thing that happened. And it made me who I am, and it's great. Let's go. And I hope that it inspires you. And you know what? I really hope that it makes you cry, because it made me cry for many fucking years, but it doesn't make me cry anymore. But this is your catalyst for your next power move. What are your views on that?
Mhm. This is going to be part of it. You know, in July, it was actually on the 4th of July. It was on Independence Day. I'm in Telluride in the mountains, fireworks and all the things. And I told somebody in WhatsApp all of my hardest lessons in terms of being seen and heard and having all of the attention, for better or for worse. I know there's going to come a time when I can integrate that into the program, and this is the one. So I can talk about it in advance. I can talk about it while it's happening. I can talk about it after. And there's going to be people who it doesn't make sense in the moment. And then when it hits their life, my words will echo in their heart and mind, because these are the conversations almost nobody has. And these are the realities that subconsciously hold most people back, because they do have an inkling that, yeah, if you're that big and you're that bright and you're that loud and you're seen and heard everywhere, there's going to be a target on your back. So we're going to talk about that target and why that target is necessary. Here's the part that nobody told me, but I figured out. I actually was trying to do anything and everything to avoid the target from being on me. What I can now say is that's not the route. The real skill set, the real mastery is knowing the target is here, actually holding the target, chest puffed out. I earned this target. Fire away, because your approval, your praise, your love bombing, your hate, your groups, you're trying to take me down, reputation dragged through the mud, it's all exactly the same to me. It's all noise. It's one side or the other side of the same exact coin. And no matter what, I'm here and I earned this target. Go for it.
Why do people not talk about being the target?
Most of the
Why
time, they're
and why do
traumatized by it.
people not talk about the fall down?
They're usually traumatized by it. So this is what I can tell you from my own experience. The people who go through big internet hate, it's traumatizing. They don't want to talk about that because for most of these people, they want to keep making money. They want to keep succeeding. Okay. And so they think if I pause from what I'm doing and I talk about this, the clients will go down, the income will go down. And really, what they try to do is ignore this and focus on the business, the money, and the clients. I have done that from time to time. There's been times when I'll be like, I'm just going to try to pretend that never happened, and I'm going to try to keep plowing ahead. Okay. And also, that's the personality usually of this person. We are forward motion people. We actually don't like to sit in the shit for that long, right? But the problem with it that I find is that when you don't sit with it long enough to see what it makes you afraid of going forward, because you're going to keep going forward, it creates this element of like somebody grabbing at your heels. It's this element of looking over your shoulder. I recently shared this with someone who when enough things happen You're moving forward, you're running, but every now and again, you're also doing that because it still hurts, it still shocks, it still traumatizes you, even when you're all the things, because at the end of the day, you're still human.
Mm.
People don't want to talk about it because it's the part nobody's proud of. Maybe there's this belief that if I would have done something different, it wouldn't have happened. What I can tell you is it's gonna happen at
Mm.
some level of visibility. There's a tipping point. It will happen. It's
Mm.
not about if you did something right or wrong. It's part of the package.
Yeah, it's the chords that you touch, you know. What I find in my life is that the times that people have tried to take me out when I have been the target, it's not been because I've been an asshole. It's
No,
been because I've just been doing my thing and I've just been getting on and I've just been the good, kind, caring, generous, loving woman with direction and clarity, just doing my thing, just getting on with it. And I find it so fascinating how that strikes a chord in so many people and the level of what is the word? Like the level of rejection, because it's not even a resistance to it, it's a rejection. Like there's an immediate, oh, that's all too much for me. I don't question it anymore. You know, for many years, I used to question, you know, how is it that my kindness and my generosity and my stability and my centeredness and my groundedness and my joy and my pleasure seekingness can activate you so much? How is it? I can understand that speaking truth and just saying it, saying the thing as it is, can activate people. But I've been really fascinated to watch how joy and direction and clarity and just courage to live life has upset so many people.
oh yeah, this might be comforting for some people. I actually have not had a single stalker, because now I've got a list of those, uh, hater, hate group, or thread started about me on the internet because I said something mean. Not a single one happened because I said something mean. Not because I was a little too blunt and I didn't wrap it in a little, hug. Actually, not a single time was it started by that. It's exactly what you said. I actually had a woman who did a cross this country of the United States tour, stopping to visit my clients where they lived. And weeks before she did this, I met her in person. I gave her medicine for her sick daughter. I gifted her a spot in a book. I'm going to tell you something, generosity and truly caring about people will piss people off more than anything. More than
Mm.
anything. And I'm like you, it's a real interesting, it kind of twists my mind, but I'm going to tell you, I will tell you, I'm a very slow learner on this. My husband has been very patient for 20 years with me because the day he met me, he literally said, "You're too generous and you're too giving to others." He has told me that from day one. And I finally, about a year ago said, "You were right. I will be very mindful, very conscientious when I'm generous, when I give, when I consider someone in the way I consider my kids and my husband and my dad." Because I'm going to tell you that is when I have been shredded, when I act like that.
Mm. Mm. You know, and many things didn't work with my ex-husband and I, but many things did. And he really saw me in my power, stretched me a little bit too much in moments when I just needed to calibrate. But that was one of the things that he said to me as well. And he said, Leigh, there's only one Mother Teresa on planet Earth, and it's not you. So stop it. Stop putting everyone else before you, because generosity is something that has you feeling so good. You have people walking all over you, left, right, and center. You have people that are not operating at the level that you operate at. Stop pretending that they are meeting you at your level. They're just not. And it took me years to be with this. And the moment that I started my business, things really shifted. 8 years ago, the people that just weren't there. And that was okay. You know, there were people for a season. And a lot of people are not comfortable with continuing to forge on forward. Facts are some are going to get left behind. And it's not that they're getting left behind, it's just that they're not continuing to stay on the field and play the game at the level that you are here to play the game at. You're not leaving them anywhere. They're just not racing as quickly or consistently or with the strength, power, resilience, grit that is required than you are. And this was really the game changer for me of understanding networking like the rich. Because some people think that they've got their posse. It's like, okay, cool. This is this great network that I've got, and they're my people, and they're going to be my people forever because there's so much resonance in the moment, and there's so much connection and love, and everything's working in the moment. But you continue on and they don't. And so the group kind of starts to fizzle out. And so we have to continue to meet new people and connect with new people that are operating at a new level, whether you like it or not. If you're in online business, networking like the rich, making power moves, getting a client a day, these things have to be your highest priority because people are not going to be able to keep up always. Some of us do, you know, we see our core people, right? Like I've lasted with you for 7 years, and thank God you had a couple of years of takeout because fuck, I needed that break. You know, somebody else said, "Oh, I really missed you when you left the internet." I was like, "Nah, bitch, please. I didn't fucking miss her. She was there in the background." And thank the Christ that she was, because I just needed to do like a little bit of recalibration to get ready for the next race that was incoming, you know?
Yep. You're
So,
right. I mean, this popped up in my memories the other day. Okay, so a year ago, I did a 3-day event, and now I don't even remember what the topic was about, but I did a screenshot of my Zoom room, and I pulled it up on my phone and I was zooming in on the photo, and I'm like, they're nowhere to be found. She's gone. She bit the dust, disappeared off the face of the earth, didn't want to go any further, doesn't like to make money. On this Zoom room screen, I think there was like 50 people who were live. I think 2 of those are currently in my world and clients. The rest of them, no clue where they are. And this is why we continuously show up and we bring new people in, because everyone cannot move forward. Today at this table, after breakfast, Sam said, Mom, I listen to you teach. I actually really like tuning into your lives. Do you mind if I sit in the back during masterminds? And he said, were you the student before you were the teacher? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I still am. And Derek piped up and said, we learn something new every day, because if you don't, you won't keep growing. You won't keep excelling. And that's the same in our relationships. They're gonna go so far, and then there's certain people who won't go any further. There's people for that season, but when we get locked down with this like one group, you know, I think about the group I had here locally, like, oh my gosh, you know, that was like shedding layers every 3, 6 months, couldn't hang. That's normal. It doesn't mean you're
yeah,
doing anything wrong.
yeah. And I think that that's what people really need to hear. That's normal. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Stay on your path, do your thing, keep on going. Those who want to come are going to come. Those who want to say yes are going to say yes, and that's it. When does Power Move start? How many people are in it? For those who like to have the details, how is it running? What does it look like?
So the way it's going to go in waves. So 24 are in right now. They are going to be in this first wave. So they're going to begin the modules. I'm going to do a bonus training for them on March 3rd so that they can make the connection between the power of their words. So that once and for all, I can knock everybody else's words out of their mouth and help them go back to the words that they probably reject because they're so them and they're quirky and they're funny. So they're going to go through the first wave, and I'll just keep promoting this probably until June or so. So up to 100 people can be in the program. We're at 24. We go in waves. You come in the first wave, it's no different than if you come in the third wave, except for the third wave, they're going to pay more. You know, that's how it works in my world. You come in first, you get the best deals. So I'm actually going to be sending an email out tomorrow to all the power moves of the timing of it, how they schedule this, how they go through the steps, how they send it to me so that I know that they're ready. They put their face on this camera over and over. They got to go, one of the assignments is you got to go break a few rules. Let's knock the good girl out of you because you can't be power moving if you don't know how to break a few rules. That's one of our favorite things to do, right? Learn the rules so well that you can go break them really, really well. So that's how it's going to be. It's going to roll in waves. Round one, wave one, it's rolling out right now.
Let's take this final segment and let it be the layer cake of the world of Network Like the Rich. For those of you who have never met you before, this is the first time that they're meeting you on the internet and they want to enter into your world. Where do they start? What is the next layer that comes in, and the next, and the next, and the next? How do these all intertwine with one another? And what is the cherry on top of the cake that then enables the entire muscle? What I said to the women in our 12-day networking challenge, we're now everyone's fucked out at day 3. So I'm like, that's cool. We'll keep on being with this one, but we continue to move on to day 4. And now we're on day 5. And I said to them, yeah, you're going to get to day 3. Day 3 is challenging. It's challenging me. I need to be with it. But we're going to continue moving so that the networking like the rich muscle becomes normalized in your system, integrated into who you are as a human being so that you're just naturally doing it. It's not a thing where you need to do a course anymore. So yes, we're doing these 12 days, but those 12 days need to be an extended practice. I like 565 days. That's my kind of number of, okay, now I've really got it. We'll continue to be in the practice, but it's an integration of everything. So give us the network like the rich cake. Where do we enter? What is the first slice? And how do we hold the entire thing to normalize it?
Great question. So people enter in the 12-day networking challenge because I want to show them what traditional networking versus rich networking is so that they can compare and contrast and really build themselves. Most people walk into networking and they expect so much of others and expect so little of themselves. This is foundational. What I would say is very quickly come into Rich Mixer because it's the place that you practice it. So then you can practice it with others. You can see it play out. You can receive referrals every time you come. And then you keep studying, refining, mastering the 12 days. From Rich Mixer, you can come into the Client a Day Club, where then you realize, oh, the way I speak at networking events and the way I speak on social media and the way I email my list, these are very connected. I can speak in a way that activates buyers. I can speak in a way that's clear so I can get money every single day. And then I can come into the Rich Networker Mastermind where I learn how to have 30 to 100 people move toward me every day, going up and up and up. And then, of course, power moves is what you do when you want to show yourself and the whole world. I know I'm the shit and what I got is so good. Not only am I going to do it, I'm going to have you talk about my work so that you're sending me business when I'm sitting on the beach, when I'm with my kids tie-dyeing socks like I was today, or doing whatever the heck I want to do. I'm going to have spoke so clearly that now you're parroting me and you're sending me money and clients.
Mm. It's just such a delicious cake. I mean,
Well, thank you. I agree.
I'm not even into the sweet stuff. Like every now and then I gotta have it. But it's just such a delicious cake. And yeah, stepping in and building the muscle is really, really epic for people who are learning how to be with people and learning how to communicate. And then for those who are really good at that, but they're wanting to refine and they're in their explosion season. You know, what I love about the work with you is that people can step in at startup, they can step in at growth, they can step in when they're ready to scale. All they've got to have is the desire to show up on a daily basis and do whatever it takes. And as long as you've got that, as long as you've got a growth muscle, as long as you're honest and clear and open and direct and you don't have your defenses up, then you're good to go. It doesn't matter what stage of business you're at. You've got to have certain qualities that are required in order for people to step into your world. So, I mean, it's just so much fun. It really is great to have you back. And like I say, super grateful that there was the pause moment whilst, you know, book launch was going on. If you haven't read Monique's chapter, Inside of the Lost Art of Being Human, A Leader's Guide to End War, then read her chapter. Her chapter is on collective wealth. And yeah, this is the lost art of getting rich together. It's 20 minutes of your time. This is where she really speaks about what she's all about and what you need to have in place to remember where prosperity actually sits. So I'm excited for all of this, and the better it gets, the better it gets. And I feel like we really have just got started. And I can't wait for everything to overflow. This is a year of absolute overflow for everyone. So thank you for your magic. Thank you for your directness. Thank you for your sweet gangsterism. It really works well for so many people. And yeah, I'm grateful for you.
Thank you, Leigh. Thank you for always being here, riding along. You know, you never really know if we're getting ready to go around a corner or off a cliff, but you're always laughing and saying, well, as long as we keep having fun, I'll be here. So I appreciate your time and your willingness to have these conversations over and over, and for leading this group in the 12-day networking challenge. It was your own idea. You know, I found out on the Rich Mixer call like 10 minutes before it ends, and I'm like, oh, cool. I love it. So, you know, I'm grateful to have you in my world, and let's keep having fun.
Let's keep having fun.
Okay.
Well, we'll drop the link in.
Yes.
And yeah, enjoy power moves. Everyone, get in. You need this. As long as you're not a Miranda in the back, you're good for it.
You'll be good. All right. Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Ciao.